Scripture this morning, familiar words from Matthew chapter 5, beginning with what sometimes called the Sermon. When Jesus saw the crowds, he went up to the mountain. After he sat down, his disciples came to him. Then he began to speak and taught them, saying, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people revile you and persecute you and utter all kinds of evil against you falsely on my account. Rejoice and be glad, for your reward is great in heaven. For in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. For the salt has lost its taste, how can its saltiness be restored? It's no longer good for anything, but is thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. The city built on a hill cannot be hidden. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under a bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, if your light shine before others, that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven." This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. I spend some time in the children's section of the local Barnes & Noble, accompanied, of course, by a reliable guide. And probably because they sell so well, there's always a few Dr. Seuss books on display. Perennially there, along with the Cat in the Hat and Green Eggs and Ham, is all the places you'll go. Maybe it's not the equivalent of Pat the Bunny, which is required by law to be furnished to every public. But the book is given to countless graduates, and the book just marvels at all life's possibilities. Recipients will, it's expected, master certain skills, experience various adventures, and overcome some challenges on their way to self-actualization. This mirrors, of course, the standard graduation addresses, and for that matter, some welcome to the school year addresses. They almost universally suggest that listeners have their whole lives in front of them, that their horizons are wide, and that anyone can become anything they really want. It's a good book for most of us, because for most of us, most of the time, we focus on just those things. We spend a lot of our time and energy building on those unlimited possibilities, hoping for a bright and colorful future. Sounds fine. But sadly, just those institutions where we tend to hear these encouraging words are those with a limited vision of what preparation for that future looks like. Over the years, I've officiated at a number of memorial services. Some have been truly joyous, others seriously sad, and most of them a little of both. These services celebrate the life of the deceased, and they recognize the grace of God. It's instructive, I think, that when we talk about the person, the stuff that gets into the printed obituary, that she was employed at this important company, that he had so many career home runs, all those items that would appear in the paper, that stuff isn't particularly important at a memorial service. That's because what David Brooks calls resume virtues are different than eulogy virtues. Resume virtues are the skills and vocational experience that we bring to the marketplace. Eulogy virtues are the qualities of being a spiritual, relational human being. This is a real problem, and not just for those entering or exiting schools, but for all of us. It's subtle, it's seductive, and its words and stories law. Here's one. One episode of Northern Exposure, a classic television show from the 1990s, involved a young Alaskan native named Ed, who's battling with demons in his life. He's seeking wisdom. And he has a dream where these demons become personified. And they live, of course, in an old trailer park. He stops at one filled with trophies and testimonials, and it's occupied by a lustrous but insecure young man. His dream companion, a small green man named Envy, warns him. Ed, he says, you're dealing with the demon of external validation. You can't beat external validation. Why no longer? Because it feels so good. I thought about this. I was pretty much away from the online world for a whole week this summer. For a very long while, of course, people live their lives with only a moderate amount of feedback, and oftentimes little at all, and certainly not daily. The times have changed, and we need to, we think, keep our enthusiasm and our focus constantly refreshed. Consider all those posts on Facebook and its competitors. We put up a picture of our funny dog. We announce a milestone birthday. We relate what we ate for lunch. And we can get almost instantaneous feedback within minutes. We can garner likes for ourselves, and the more, the better. The growth of social media has been fueled by feedback mechanisms. Ostensibly, this has been used to determine good, useful, or entertaining content. Lots of likes indicate popularity, and this helps the system bring the popular stuff out through the depths of fraud and onto the front page. You won the Nobel Prize? That's great. How many likes did you get? Then you find out that the funny baby laughing got 200 times more. It works. We just love to be noticed. The social media allows a place to share our experiences and our thoughts with whomever will look. Unfortunately, the desire to be loved means that people will inadvertently, subconsciously, or in some cases deliberately subvert the process. Some people will like everything. Oh, your dog just died? They do this hoping to be liked in return. They follow everybody on Twitter, hoping to be followed themselves. This is serious reciprocal feedback loop, and the fluff can quickly overwhelm the news. This effect is amplified by one of the better sides of human nature, the desire to be nice. I don't really mind this. I mean, let's face it, who doesn't like nice? But sometimes you have to wonder what you're missing. Moreover, the basic mechanisms we put in place to make social media work tie directly into fundamental human needs, which is why it's so disordered. That's the problem. For as much as these feedback mechanisms form the fabric of social communication and the language of measuring popularity, they also feed Mr. External Validation. And this is the way that we can our moral and spiritual fabric. There are probably studies out there on this right now. Analysts speak about how the kids of today have developed coping with multitasking and with rapid stimuli across a whole range of simultaneous channels. If young brains can grow to work in this way, isn't there something missing? Aren't we setting them up for a continued thirst for external validation, magnified by their online lives? Here's a secret. All the likes that your adorable child gets will not guarantee college admission, let alone a great job. Allegedly, we can't beat external validation. Why? Because it feels so good. And yet, we all know those few people who seem to have it all together. They're fun to be with. They don't talk about themselves all that much. They're interested in ideas and events more than, hey, here's another picture of my new car. They may have career success in anything from being a terrific business administrator, a great insurance underwriter, a seasoned care provider, but that doesn't seem to rise to the surface. At least it doesn't matter half as much as they're having a certain depth of character, a certain generosity of spirit. Sure, eulogy virtues are more important than resume ones. We know that. But our culture and our educational systems spend more time teaching what they can, which is the skills and strategies we need for commercial success. Much more so than the qualities we need to become more fully authentic human beings. We're better taught how to build an external career than how to frame inner character. If we live for external achievement, the years pass and the deepest parts of us go unexplored and unstructured. We find we lack a moral vocabulary, and it's easy to slip into self-satisfied moral mediocrity. We grade ourselves on a forgiving curve. As long as we're not obviously hurting anyone and people seem to like us, we must be okay. But it catches up with us. This hollow somewhere inside, a widening gap between our actual selves and our desired selves, between us and those incandescent souls that we sometimes need. There's evidence that these beautiful people are largely naked, not born. Their genuine inner virtue is built slowly as a result of specific moral and spiritual choices. These people tend to share some characteristics that would be worth talking about. For starters, in a world that wants us to be constantly promoting ourselves, to post our smallest accomplishments, some few have cultivated a true humility. I spoke about this last week. This means they're not only aware of others, but they're also aware of their own weaknesses, and they struggle against those weaknesses, seeking to be strong in just those places. Second, these people know that individualism has some serious limits. They know self-mastery does not come on our own. Pride, selfishness, self-deception are too strong, and they need help. They need redemptive assistance and unconditional love, even as these people work on projects that they get. Third, these people work at love. Not that love can be forced, but love can be found, along with wonder and grace. These people seek it urgently. They seek the kind of love that energizes as it de-centers. These people have profoundly embraced loving others and found it repaid many times over. Fourth, they're open to being led by the Spirit, which is a way of saying they are diligent in seeking where they're supposed to fit in. They're seeking and often find that tiny hole in the universe that is shaped just like them. And finally, these people are willing to take risks when utilitarian, me-centered logic has to be done. And what follows is new levels of empathetic understanding, new webs of responsible involvement, and commitments that count. That's a powerful, energizing feedback loop too. Empathy, involvement, and commitment. Those commencement speakers are always telling young people to follow your passion, be true to yourselves. This is a vision of life, though, that begins with a self and ends with a self. The people on the road to inner light don't find their vocations by asking, what do I want from life? They ask, what is life asking of me? How can I match my intrinsic talents with one of the world's deep needs? Where is my place? Their lives often follow passion, involving defeat sometimes, recognition and redemption. They have moments of pain and suffering, but they learn from their trials. Theologian Paul Tillich said, suffering introduces you to yourself. That's cool. For a theologian, that's good. Suffering, theologians know about suffering. Suffering introduces you to yourself. It reminds you, you may not be the person you wished you were. So, these people aren't really living for happiness, although that does happen. But they do see spiritual struggle as proof of a goal worth attaining. Just as well, because external ambitions can never truly be satisfied. There's always something more to put on the present. There is joy in chosen obedience to organizations, to ideas, and to people. There's joy in mutual stumbling on the road forward. There's an aesthetic joy that we can feel when we encounter profoundly good work. When we run across someone who's quiet and humble and generous, when we realize that however old we are, there's lots of good to be done. Maturity doesn't come by trying to be better than others, but by being better than you. It's more where you're headed than where you stand. I heard that said by one of my daughter's youth league soccer coaches. He said to this group of 9-year-olds, says, I don't really care if you win or lose tomorrow. What I care about is that you play better this week than you did last week. That you're more of a team this week than you were last week. That's what's important. Experience shows that there will come transcendent moments of deep peace, true shalom. Most times, though, we just stumble on forward, picking ourselves up and trying again with the help of our friends. In the play, in the movie, Man for All Seasons, the great player, Sir Thomas More, counsels a vain young applicant named Richard Rich. Rich wants a court position, but More counsels that he become a teacher, and a good one. The young man is crestfallen. If I were, Richard objects, who would know? More looks at him deeply then. answers. You, your students, not a bad audience. When Richard decides to pursue position and power, he ends up almost predictable. So we're going to talk in the next few weeks about some people who had that larger vision, who didn't succumb to the demon of external validation. They were people who made a difference. They were people who stood for something. They were people who counted. So, this simple question: what audience are we playing? Are we trying for the big audience or the right audience?